Description: as rising sea levels threaten coastal cities worldwide, humanity turns to the oceans themselves for refuge. Explore the story of Hydropolis, an underwater city in 2045, where cutting-edge technology meets the resilience of the human spirit. Chapter 1: The Sinking World. By the 2040s, the seas were no longer rising, they were swallowing. Coastal cities like Jakarta, Miami, and Venice were either abandoned or shielded by costly sea walls, while island nations like the Maldives had become uninhabitable. Entire populations became climate refugees, living in makeshift floating cities or overcrowded inland metropolises. Amid this global upheaval, a revolutionary concept took shape: living underwater. The United Nations announced the Deep Blue Initiative in 2042, a coalition of scientists, engineers, and governments committed to creating sustainable underwater habitats. The first successful project, Hydropolis, opened its reinforced titanium gates in 2045, nestled 50 meters beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean. Hydropolis wasn't just a sanctuary, it was a marvel of human ingenuity. Vast dome-like structures constructed from translucent graphene allowed sunlight to filter through. Inside, urban life thrived: schools, research labs, farms illuminated by artificial bioluminescence, and eco-friendly housing units. For its 20,000 residents, it promised a blend of survival and innovation. But was life under the sea truly a solution, or just a temporary escape? Chapter 2: A New Frontier. In Hydropolis, the daily hum of life contrasted starkly with the silent, vast ocean pressing against the city's walls. For Lila Mendez, a marine biologist who had moved here from a drowned Manila, the city represented hope. When you lose everything to the sea, you learn to respect it, she would often tell her colleagues. Lila's passion project, the Coral Regeneration Initiative, was one of many in Hydropolis aimed at healing the damage humanity had done to the oceans. Schools taught children not just mathematics and literature, but the delicate art of maintaining an aquatic ecosystem. The city's energy came from turbines that harnessed ocean currents, and its farms used hydroponics to grow crops in water. But for all its ingenuity, Hydropolis faced problems. Supplies had to be ferried in by submarine, and occasional structural leaks required rapid response teams. The psychological toll of life beneath the sea was another hurdle. Many residents reported anxiety, insomnia, or vivid dreams of drowning. One night, as Lila studied coral growth in the city's outermost biodome, she noticed something unusual: a deep, rhythmic vibration. At first, she thought it was the ocean current. But the vibrations grew stronger, rattling her lab equipment. "What's going on?" she muttered, staring out at the dark expanse of water beyond the graphene wall. That was when she saw them, massive shapes moving in the deep, their outlines illuminated faintly by bioluminescent streaks. "Lila, get to the core." Now came a panicked voice over the intercom. It was Damien, the city's chief engineer. "The seismic sensors are picking up something big, real big." Lila's heart raced as she realized the city wasn't just fighting the ocean. It might be confronting something far older and far more dangerous. Chapter 3: The Leviathan's Shadow. Lila scrambled through the winding corridors of Hydropolis, her mind racing. The city was equipped with state-of-the-art sensors to monitor the ocean's movements, but nothing had prepared them for this. On the central command screen, she saw the source of the vibrations, a colossal creature, easily the length of a skyscraper, gliding toward the city. "It's a squid." "No, something bigger," said Damien, his voice shaking. The creature's bioluminescent patterns pulsed rhythmically, casting eerie blue shadows across the command center. "It must have been disturbed by our energy turbines. We've been harvesting the currents in its territory." Panic spread quickly. Hydropolis's residents, connected by a centralized communication network, watched as the command center broadcasted live images of the creature. In apartments and classrooms, whispers filled the air. Children huddled close to their parents, and scientists debated whether to power down the turbines or attempt to drive the creature away. Lila leaned over Damien's console. "If we turn off the turbines, we'll lose power to critical systems. We can't afford that." Damien nodded grimly. "But if it breaches the outer dome, the pressure we'll figure something out," Lila interrupted. "We need to understand it, not fight it. Let me go to the observation substation." "Are you insane? That thing could crush you like a tin can." Damien snapped. "We're scientists, Damien. If this is a territorial dispute, we need to figure out why. Otherwise, we might provoke more of them." Damien hesitated, but finally gave a reluctant nod. "Take the aquapod. It's small and fast. But the moment things go south, you get back here." Lila suited up, her mind swimming with both fear and curiosity. As the aquapod's hatch sealed and the vehicle descended into the inky black, she couldn't shake the feeling that this creature, this Leviathan, might hold answers to questions humanity had long ignored. Chapter 4. Beneath the bioluminescent veil. The aquapod slipped through the water with a quiet hum, its small frame almost invisible to the behemoth drifting near Hydropolis. Lila adjusted the lights to the lowest setting, careful not to draw attention as she approached. The creature was unlike anything she had ever seen, a mix of squid-like tentacles and a massive, manta-ray body. Its bioluminescent patterns seemed to pulse with purpose, as if communicating with the water itself. Lila activated the pod's recording equipment, capturing the mesmerizing display. "It's incredible," she whispered into the calm link. "Its movements, they're coordinated, almost like it's thinking." Back at the command center, Damien and a team of scientists analyzed the live feed. "Those light patterns," said one of them, "they're too structured to be random. It might be a form of communication." As Lila inched closer, the creature turned, its massive eye locking onto her pod. She froze, gripping the controls. The Leviathan drifted closer, its sheer size making the aquapod feel like a speck of dust. Suddenly, it extended one of its tentacles, gently brushing the pod. Lila's heart pounded. "It's not attacking," she said. "It's curious." The tentacle lingered for a moment, then retracted. The creature emitted a low-frequency hum that vibrated through the pod's hull. Lila's equipment translated it into sound waves resembling a haunting melody. "It's singing," she murmured, awestruck. But just as the creature began to move away, the vibrations returned, this time from above. Lila looked up and gasped. A fleet of military-grade drones was descending from the surface, armed with harpoons and explosives. "What are they doing?" Lila shouted into her calm. Damien's voice crackled through the speakers. "It's an unauthorized response team. They must have picked up our signals and decided to intervene." The Leviathan sensed the danger, its bioluminescent pulses becoming frantic. Lila gritted her teeth, her hands trembling on the controls. "We have to stop them," she said. "If they attack, it'll retaliate, and Hydropolis won't survive." Chapter 5. The Clash of Titans. The military drones closed in, their red targeting lasers slicing through the water like threads of fire. The Leviathan thrashed, releasing bursts of bioluminescent light that lit up the ocean in dazzling, chaotic patterns. Lila, desperate to prevent a confrontation, toggled the aquapod's communication array. "This is Dr. Lila Mendez of Hydropolis. Stand down immediately. You're provoking an uncharted marine species. Do you have any idea what you're dealing with?" A crackling response came through. "Dr. Mendez, this is Commander Briggs of Maritime Security. Your city's activity has endangered international waters. This creature poses a threat to human settlements along the coast. We're neutralizing it." "Neutralizing?" Lila's voice rose. "You'll cause catastrophic damage, not just to us, but to the ecosystem for miles around. Withdraw your drones now." Commander Briggs ignored her, barking orders to his team. The drones began firing harpoons, each one trailing cables designed to restrain the Leviathan. The creature bellowed a deep, resonant sound that shook the aquapod and sent shockwaves through the water. The Leviathan retaliated, its massive tentacles swiping at the drones. One by one, they exploded into plumes of bubbles and debris. But the assault only enraged the beast further. As it thrashed, the vibrations rocked Hydropolis, triggering alarms across the city. Damien's voice rang through Lila's comm. The outer dome is taking structural stress. If this keeps up, we're looking at a full breach. Lila made a split-second decision. She disengaged the aquapod's safety protocols and surged forward, placing her tiny vessel directly between the Leviathan and the drones. "Stop this madness," she screamed into the comms. "You're making it worse." For a moment, the drones hesitated, recalibrating to avoid hitting her. That was all the time Lila needed. She activated the pod's bioluminescent mimicry system, designed for camouflage and projected patterns similar to those on the Leviathan. The creature froze, its massive eye narrowing as it regarded the aquapod. Lila held her breath. Slowly, the Leviathan's movements calmed, its light patterns softening into a rhythmic pulse. Back in Hydropolis, the scientists watched in awe. "It's responding to her," one of them said. "She's communicating with it." Chapter 6. A Fragile Truce. The Leviathan drifted closer to the aquapod, its tentacles moving with deliberate gentleness. Lila carefully maneuvered the pod, mimicking its light patterns as best she could. The creature's hum changed pitch, becoming a series of low, melodic tones. It's testing me," Lila realized. "It's trying to understand if I'm a threat." Meanwhile, Damien was frantically coordinating with Hydropolis's emergency teams. "Lila's buying us time, but the drones are still armed. If the commander fires again, we're done for." Lila's voice came through the comm, firm and unyielding. "Commander Briggs, listen to me. This creature isn't attacking us, it's defending its territory. If you keep pushing, it'll bring the whole city down. Withdraw your drones, or I'll send this footage to every international news outlet on Earth." There was a long pause before Briggs responded. "You're taking a massive risk, Doctor. If that thing turns violent, it'll be on your head." "It won't," Lila said with quiet conviction. Reluctantly, the drones powered down, retreating to the surface. The Leviathan watched them go, its light patterns shifting to a serene blue. Lila exhaled deeply, her hands shaking on the controls. The creature turned its attention back to her, hovering for a moment before releasing a final, resonant hum. Then, with a graceful flick of its tail, it disappeared into the abyss. Lila returned to Hydropolis to a mix of relief and applause. But the encounter had left the city with lingering questions. How many more creatures like the Leviathan roamed the depths? Could humanity coexist with them, or would their fragile truce eventually shatter? Damien met her at the docking bay, his face a mixture of awe and exhaustion. "You just stared down a living legend, Lila. How do you feel?" Lila pulled off her helmet, her expression both tired and resolute. "Like we've been looking at the ocean all wrong. We need to stop treating it as a resource or a battlefield and start treating it as a home." Her words echoed through Hydropolis, sparking debates that would shape the future of humanity's underwater cities. Was survival in the depths truly possible without harmony with the ancient life forms that called it home? Chapter 7. The debate begins. In the weeks following the Leviathan encounter, Hydropolis became a hub of international attention. Footage of the event, leaked by one of the city's residents, went viral. Scientists, environmentalists, and governments across the globe debated what it meant for humanity's future under the sea. In the Hydropolis Council chamber, tensions were high. Representatives of the city's various departments gathered to discuss their next steps. Damien stood at the front, presenting the data collected during the encounter. "The Leviathan wasn't just reacting to the turbines," he explained. "It was responding to the electromagnetic signals from our infrastructure. We're broadcasting our presence in ways we never considered." Lila spoke up from the back. "That means we need to rethink how we coexist." If we keep intruding into their habitat without understanding it, we're going to provoke more incidents. A council member, an older man with a gruff voice, interrupted. So what do you suggest, Dr. Mendez? Dismantle the city? Return to land and let the ocean rise over us? Lila held her ground. No, but we need to adapt. Hydropolis can't survive if we're at war with the ocean's inhabitants. Instead of just living under the sea, we need to live with it. The room erupted into heated debate. Some supported Lila's vision of harmony, while others argued that survival required dominance. Later that evening, as Lila walked through the bioluminescent-lit corridors of Hydropolis, she was joined by Ellie, a young journalist who had documented the Leviathan encounter. Do you think they'll listen? Ellie asked. Lila shrugged, her gaze distant. They have to. If we don't find a way to live with the ocean, the city, and others like it will fail. Ellie nodded. I've been interviewing residents. Most of them support you. They're tired of living in fear of the ocean, the surface, everything. They want this place to work. Lila smiled faintly. Then maybe there's hope. Chapter 8. Bridging Two Worlds. In the following months, Lila spearheaded a project she called Blue Harmony, aimed at fostering coexistence between Hydropolis and the ocean's ecosystems. The first step was redesigning the city's turbines to minimize their electromagnetic output, reducing their impact on marine life. The project also introduced monitoring systems that would track and analyze the behavior of deep-sea creatures. Instead of reacting to them as threats, the city would learn from them. Schools incorporated marine biology into their core curriculum, teaching children to respect the creatures that shared their world. One of the most ambitious aspects of Blue Harmony was the creation of sanctuary zones, areas of the ocean designated as no-build zones where marine life could thrive undisturbed. These zones would serve as buffers between Hydropolis and the Leviathans. But not everyone was on board. The military presence around Hydropolis increased, with Commander Briggs and his team arguing that defense was paramount. We can't just assume these creatures won't attack again, Briggs said during a heated meeting with Lila. What happens when the next Leviathan decides we're a threat? Then we show them we're not, Lila replied calmly. We're the intruders here, Commander. If we keep acting like conquerors, the ocean will treat us like enemies. Despite resistance, Lila's efforts began to show promise. Reports of marine life thriving near Hydropolis increased, and the city's residents embraced their new role as stewards of the sea. One day, while observing a pod of dolphins near the city's edge, Lila received a message from Damien. You need to see this, he said. In the Central Research Lab, Damien showed her a live feed from one of the outer monitoring stations. A group of smaller Leviathans, similar in appearance to the one she'd encountered, were hovering near the sanctuary zone. They've been there for hours, Damien said. No aggression, no signs of distress. It's like they're watching us. Lila's heart swelled with a mix of wonder and determination. The Leviathans weren't just creatures of myth and fear, they were part of the ocean's intricate web of life. And for the first time, humanity had taken a step toward understanding them. Chapter 9. The Leviathan's Message. The smaller Leviathans continued to hover near the sanctuary zone, their bioluminescent patterns glowing in rhythmic pulses. Scientists in Hydropolis scrambled to decode the meaning behind their movements, but Lila had a gut feeling. These creatures weren't behaving randomly. Their light pulses aren't just signals, she told Damien during a late-night lab session. They're trying to communicate. But with what? Damien frowned, reviewing the patterns on his console. Maybe they're talking to each other. Or maybe... He trailed off, staring at the monitor. Lila leaned in. What is it? These patterns, Damien said, they're not just random pulses. They match some of the waveforms recorded during the first encounter. I think they're responding to us. Lila's mind raced. If the Leviathans were responding to human technology, it meant they had a level of awareness no one had anticipated. She called for a team meeting the next morning, presenting her findings to the council. The Leviathans aren't attacking us, they're observing. They're trying to understand us, just like we're trying to understand them, she explained. A council member raised an eyebrow. And what do you propose we do, Dr. Mendes? Communicate with them? Invite them to dinner. Not dinner, Lila replied with a hint of humor. But communication? Yes. If we can establish even a rudimentary dialogue, it could change everything. After hours of debate, the council approved a bold experiment. Using modified versions of the city's energy turbines, the scientists would create patterns of light and sound designed to mimic the Leviathan's own signals. It was a risky move, but if it worked, it could be the first true connection between humanity and the ocean's oldest inhabitants. Chapter 10. A Song of the Deep. On the day of the experiment, tension filled the air. Hydropolis's residents gathered in the city's central plaza, watching as the light and sound arrays powered up. Engineers worked tirelessly to ensure the signals were precise, while Lila and Damien monitored the Leviathan's reactions from the research lab. The first sequence of lights blinked through the water, accompanied by a low-frequency hum. At first, nothing happened. The Leviathans drifted silently, their bioluminescence dim. Then, one of them moved closer, its lights flaring in a series of pulses. "They're answering," Damien whispered. The team continued the sequence, adjusting the patterns based on the Leviathan's responses. The exchange grew more complex, almost like a conversation. As the hours passed, Lila felt a profound connection to the creatures outside the city walls. Finally, one of the Leviathans did something no one expected. It swam toward the edge of the sanctuary zone, where an outcropping of coral had been regrowing under Hydropolis's care. There, it extended a tentacle and gently brushed against the coral, causing the reef to emit its own faint bioluminescence. Lila gasped. "It's acknowledging the sanctuary. It knows we're protecting it." The city erupted in cautious celebration. For the first time, humanity had shared a moment of understanding with a creature from the deep. But Lila couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. As the Leviathans swam away, their light patterns fading into the darkness, Lila turned to Damien. "We've made contact. Now we need to make a promise, not just to the Leviathans, but to the ocean itself." "And what promise is that?" Damien asked. "That we'll learn from them. And we'll protect this world, no matter what it takes." Her words resonated through Hydropolis, planting the seeds of a new era, one where humanity didn't just survive beneath the waves, but thrived in harmony with the life around them. Chapter 11. The Call for Unity. The success of the communication experiment transformed Hydropolis overnight. News of the Leviathan interaction spread like wildfire, and the underwater city became a symbol of hope for humanity's future. Governments and organizations around the world reached out, eager to learn from Hydropolis's experiences and implement similar strategies for coexisting with the ocean. In response, the United Nations convened an emergency summit held in a floating city off the coast of New Zealand. Lila was invited as the keynote speaker alongside Damien and other members of the Hydropolis Council. Standing before a crowd of diplomats, scientists, and journalists, Lila spoke from the heart. For centuries, humanity has treated the ocean as an infinite resource, something to exploit, control, or fear. But what we've learned in Hydropolis is that the ocean is none of those things. It's a partner, a world of its own, and we are its guests. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Leviathans are proof that there's still so much we don't understand. They've shown us that communication is possible, but more importantly, they've shown us that we have a responsibility. If we want to survive the rising tides, we can't just build walls or cities. We need to build relationships with the ocean and the life it holds. Her speech was met with thunderous applause. The summit concluded with the creation of the Oceanic Coexistence Treaty, an international agreement to regulate underwater development, establish sanctuary zones, and prioritize research into marine communication. Hydropolis was named the treaty's headquarters, solidifying its role as a global leader in oceanic innovation. Chapter 12: A Future Beneath the Waves. Years passed, and Hydropolis flourished. Its population grew as new underwater cities adopted its principles, creating a network of interconnected marine habitats. Technology evolved to allow for deeper exploration and even better communication with marine life, including the Leviathans. Lila became a legend in her own time, dedicating her life to fostering harmony between humanity and the ocean. Under her guidance, Hydropolis pioneered advancements in renewable energy, sustainable aquaculture, and bioluminescent architecture, transforming underwater living from a necessity into an art form. One evening, as Lila stood on a transparent observation deck overlooking the vast, glowing reef, she was joined by Ellie, now a respected journalist chronicling the history of Hydropolis. "You've changed the world," Ellie said, her voice filled with admiration. Lila smiled, her gaze fixed on the Leviathans gliding peacefully in the distance. "No, Ellie. The world changed us. We just finally learned how to listen." As the city's lights dimmed for the night, blending seamlessly with the bioluminescence of the reef, Lila felt a profound sense of peace. Humanity had found a new home, not just beneath the waves, but within the heart of the ocean itself. And for the first time in centuries, the tides carried more than just water. They carried hope.